to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. Time does not exist, beloveds. So why is Babylon implementing everything at such crazy breakneck speed? Because they're working on, they've gotten control of the consensus reality. We exist in a consensus reality, beloveds, and I've talked about the group mind so many times where, the majority of the thoughts, the majority thought of the being held by the majority of the people becomes the group reality that everyone sees. And there are people who are living, who are not connected to the group consciousness, who are living in the wilderness, who are living in the mountains, who have no idea about this group consciousness. And they either have their own little community group consciousness, or they're existing in the world of their making. But many of us are handicapped by the fact that we are connected to this group consciousness, and it influences and manipulates the world events. And that is what everything Babylon has created has been done to control the group consciousness so that they could control reality, literally to become like the God on earth. And they did that by externalizing everything, and then by religion, education, in the news narratives, feeding us a particular narrative every single day. This was all part of the plan, beloveds. And so now we see everything rolling out at breakneck speed because they are now controlling the consensus reality by the fear that so many of our people, are experiencing, or they've put the people under. Because right now, fear is what is dictating a lot of the decisions that people are taking. Fear of losing a job, fear of their children not being accepted to school, fear of not being able to do this and that, fear of not being able to travel, fear. And through this fear, they're able to control the group think, where now the vaccinated fear the unvaccinated. And so now there's like a new, segregation happening. And it's all on this. It's all because Babylon, everyone is in this, Babylon hypnosis, not everyone. And the reason they had to implement, it took them so long to get here, to be able to get everyone's minds online. And in the twinkle of an eye, they could lose that because people are awakening at such a breakneck speed. So the way decisions get made on this planet, it's not like the most powerful person decides. If that was the thing, they'd have had us in a prison planet way before. But each of us contributes with our spirit and energy. Each of us contributes our essence to the global, to the consensus of our communities, of our race, and of the global group think. So everything has been engineered to help them to be able to manipulate this group consciousness, because our thoughts create our reality, and our collective thoughts create our collective experience with spirit as well. But basically, that is what is defining it. We all have a vote. It's how they try to create democracy, where everyone is voting with their thoughts, but some people who have refined more have more power on the group thing than others, and others they use manipulation. But mainly, Babylon has to have our consent. They have to have the consent of the majority of the people to roll out their plans, which is why they created the media, the World Wide Web. Everything was to get everyone onto to get the entire group thought onto their system, so that their system would now be directing the group thought left and right. And that's why we're seeing no other stories, apart from the narrative that Babylon is now offering us, are allowed. There's so much censorship going on, which just points to the fact that this is a consensus reality, and they're pushing the propaganda 24/7. Like, if you're connected to any of the Babylon mainstream media, you'll just hear the Babylon narrative 24/7, beloveds. 24/7. And so right now, Babylon is using the control of the narrative and fear to get people to a certain point. So, but they had to they had to take dramatic moves, like locking down literally the whole planet, getting all, that was one move to make this thing larger than life. Taking out the presidents who didn't agree with the New World Order agenda, that was another move to to shake up the psyche. Because you see, Babylon never does something in order just to hurt an individual or to take out an individual. Everything they do is because of the impact it will have on the group consciousness. And so with everything that all the stories they've been pushing while keeping certain things hidden, they've been able to drive the group consciousness where they're able to unleash all these, because they keep you at home and now they fully gaslight you. Because what Babylon is doing right now is gaslighting people. And if you don't know what gaslighting is, I highly recommend you look into it. It's like just feeding you this false reality and making any of your doubts and concerns and questions seem like total madness and craziness. And so everything is accelerating because Babylon is controlling this narrative, and so many people are hooked onto it now. And they're driving it. So as the minute they reach a certain point, they're like, okay, let's unleash the next point. Okay, let's unleash the next point. Okay, let's unleash, And that's why, because time does not exist. Time is something they created to make, to put us in more of a prison planet, beloveds. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. I really do hope that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms, because that is what the season and times require of us. So if time does not exist, and time really doesn't exist, that's why we're at the end of time. Because time was one of the mental paradigms that they created to put us in this prison planet and to hijack our world. Because the hijack was never physical, beloveds. It was spiritual and mental, because everything is controlled at the mental realm, and then it trickled into, the physical. So much has been done, beloveds, and time is one of the wickedest creations of this Babylon system, because it keeps us in their narrative more than anything. These fake dates and fake times. We had our own system of how we used to count the sun and the moon, and it was like 13 perfect months of 21 days or something each, or 28 days each, and there was none of this confusion that we see today. But those are definitely stories for other days. But the reason that Babylon is able to implement everything is because of this consensus reality that we exist in, beloveds, where it's the majority of literally the creation of reality is a democracy where everyone's thoughts are contributed. And you see, before we'd have these gods walking among us who are back now, and they would carry way more influence than an individual person's vote. They would have the vote of like nations, just because of their level. And there were just so many different things. But now, Babylon reduced everyone, squeezed everyone into their low vibrational reality where everyone kind of gets consent, everyone has their vote. But they do so much manipulation and magic to make things appear as they are not, to create this illusion, to keep control of the groupthink. And they've done everything. Everything has been for what they have now. They have Everything was created for what they have now, which was the control of the movement of the group consciousness, of the flow of the group consciousness. But so many people are waking up that they are, that's why they're racing between, it's like, as Janet Jackson said, a race between education and catastrophe. They're racing to make sure that while they have that while they have the group consciousness under their control, that they get people to take the jab, that they implement their new world order as quickly as possible so that people will never be able to escape, once that is done. But they're also racing against the fact that so many people are bucking the system and saying, nah, that's not what I agree with. And that's basically why I'm even sharing this message, beloveds. Because you see, in this consensus reality, we have to take a stand and say, no, we're not going to do it that way. We don't want to be part of the experiment. We don't want this. We don't want that. We have to stand for our convictions and stand firm, spiritually and mentally first. And you see, because so many of us are awakening and we're doing the work and we're refining and we're elevating, we have a much bigger impact on the group consciousness than our asleep brothers and sisters who are all being led to the slaughter. We can change things. Does it only need 144,000 of us to be of one accord? Possibly. Could even be less than that. And there's a story I've shared on here about 3 brothers. How, there was a man that went to a village and he met one brother. He met the first brother. He didn't even know it was the first brother. He met this man and he was like, and he saw the man healing a cripple, and the cripple was able to get up and walk. And he was like, oh my God, how miraculous. How were you able to do that? And he was like, this is a gift that I came with, but this is nothing. If you could see my older brother, he's the one whose energy controls an entire village. So he was like, oh, I gotta see this. So they went and they saw this brother, and his whole vibe, he was like the healer and teacher of this community, but his vibe alone gave the entire community a certain vibe. There'd never been war, there'd never been killing, there'd never been violence. Everyone was happy and abundance because of his vibe, because that's how powerful his aura and his spirit was. So he was like in awe, and he was like, whoa, are you able to create such a beautiful like paradise on earth? And he explained to him, but he said, no, I'm nothing. You haven't seen our eldest brother. He keeps an entire country at peace. And so they went to meet the eldest brother, and the eldest brother was spiritually in charge of one of the most peaceful nations of that time and of that region, because of his aura, his vibration of peace, which just would penetrate all those below him. Because vibration, lower vibration must bow to higher vibration. And I share that story to say that for many of us who have been doing the work, we are having a much bigger impact on delaying and denying Babylon, which is why they're going to come for us even more aggressively, which is why we have to be ready. You taking a stand, and it doesn't even have to be a stand you share. You don't have to go with placards out there and say, this is what I'm doing, unless the Spirit leads you to do that. But by you taking a stand and forging your own path, beloveds, you're impacting the groupthink because you've removed your consciousness from them. And where you can't share the knowledge, but just by you holding that fort, it will enable others within your family, within your community, to do the exact same thing, beloveds. Stand your ground. That's the only way we can delay. Well, you don't want to delay the fall of Babylon, but delay the wicked agenda of Babylon so more of our people can awaken. That's the only way we can stop some of the wicked agendas in their foot tracks so that so many of our people don't fall. That's how the Most High is using us at this time. That's why we're here. Not so much to go out there, but to hold the fort, beloveds. Stand.